Hey everyone, it's TXM. I kind of wanted to just make a quick video going over some stuff about our Druid for tomorrow, because the patch literally goes live tomorrow. I want this video to be pretty quick, so I'm not going to waste any time. Real quick, for a few seconds though, I do want to shout out my sponsor, which is actually my own Twitch, twitch.tv/DXMWow. Feel free to stop by, ask me questions. I love talking about our Druid stuff. Anything our Druid related, I love it. So feel free to stop by. I'm probably going to be streaming most of the season start as long as I can, pretty much 24/7 if I can. But with that out of the way, let's just jump right into it. And of course, the first thing I have to talk about, obviously, is talents. You might notice some things are different from the last talent tree I showed about a month ago. That's because things have changed. Most notably, the cat form stuff that Blizzard announced recently. But also just some time testing. I've come to the realization that, for example, Nature's Vigil is still pretty good. So let's dive into specifically what has changed and what I think generally the meta talent tree is going to look like. What I would recommend for everyone that is watching this video, other than myself, to not run kick, as you probably saw. Run something along the lines of this. We still have Nature's Vigil after some testing. The way that I use it still nets you about 6 to 7% of your overall, which for one talent point and it being off the global is not terrible. The game plan is pretty much the same. You use Nature's Vigil with Flourish. If you think you can use your Flourish for damage, what you're going to do is you're going to hold your Flourish for about 30 seconds until your Nature's Vigil comes back up, and then do the same ramp that we've always done before and squeeze out some damage with Nature's Vigil. Because they have separate cooldowns now. So now you have to make a decision as to whether or not you're going to use your Flourish for healing or use your Flourish for damage, in which case, if you do use your Flourish for healing within the 30-second window, you're probably going to hold your Nature's Vigil until your next Flourish. It kind of sucks, but I haven't really found another efficient way to make use of Nature's Vigil if that happens. Running Heart of the Wild, because it's just a lot of damage, especially after the buffs tomorrow. As long as you're cat weaving, you're going to make a you're gonna get a lot of damage out of Heart of the Wild, especially on single target on bosses and stuff. So that's why I recommend Heart of the Wild, and Renewal is just a good button. In the case that you don't need Improved Nature's Cure, which really is only the case for like 2 or 3 of the 8 dungeons, you could put it pretty much into whatever you want. You could get Wild Charge if you want a Wild Charge, get Matted Fur if you want some extra survivability, if you want more damage, you can go Star Surge. You get the idea, the usual, Druid talent tree stuff. This is the build that I generally recommend for everyone watching this video. The build that I'm going is going to be a little bit different though. It's going to be something along the lines of this. You might be wondering, what the fuck is this? Why are you doing this? Historically, Skull Bash is really bad, and it still is. It's not a great, it's probably the worst kick in the game because it's on global. It's one global, but because it's on global, it's like 1.5 to 2 globals, because sometimes you have to hold globals to make sure you get the kick. It's a really awkward kick. It's a really awkward button. I don't recommend anyone play with this. It's really clunky. I don't think anyone would have fun. But the mindset behind why I'm running it is, one, the cat form buffs. Killer Instinct gets a lot more value now because of the buffs that Blizzard announced recently that are going live tomorrow. So Killer Instinct is actually not a bad talent now because of that. But Skull Bash, I'm running it because we're starting to come to a point, I think, in WoW's meta history where a healer having a stop and a kick is pretty useful. This whole last patch, HPAL has kick. Season 1, our Shaman, which was probably the strongest healer in Season 1, has the best kick in the game. We're getting to a point where people are used to running with kicks as a healer, so you may as well own up to it if you can. If you think you can get away with playing Skull Bash and you don't mind how clunky it is, you can give this build a try. Again, I don't recommend this for anyone watching this video. This is purely something experimental that I'm running, but this is what I'm running for anyone curious. On the right side of the tree, there's actually not much for me to go over. This is the build that I recommend if you don't have the new 4 set coming out in Guardians of the Dream. If you do have the new 4 set, in particular the 4 set, I mean to stress the 4 set, if you do have the new 4 set, you can drop Trank and go Budding Leaves or whatever else you think you might need, but Budding Leaves is probably going to give you the most throughput of any other talent you could put the Trank point into. So that's pretty much that. And the reason behind why you drop Trank is because Trank is pretty antiquated now. We have a lot of healing in 10.2, where Trank just isn't really that necessary, and Trank historically is not the greatest button to press either. Just yesterday I pressed Trank and my Evoker literally rescued me out of my Trank cast, and I lost all of its value. It's a not great button, so that's why we're dropping Trank, for anyone curious. Itemization and stat-wise, nothing's really changing. We're still going haste. We're still going verse, and we're still going some mastery. Unsure yet if crit will be more valuable after these cat form buffs. I personally don't think so. But things could change. But us being haste heavy, that's not changing. I think us being verse heavy, particularly in high keys, I don't think that's changing. And because of all the Grove Guardian shenanigans happening in 10.2, I think we get a lot of value from our mastery. I think the nourishes on PTR, we're doing something like 40% of my overall, tier set included, which that's a lot of value for Mastery of Harmony. So around these stats is pretty much what you're aiming for. My haste is a little bit lower than normal right now because of the staff I have, which is what I got for the first, few quests in 10.2. Just what I have. So my mastery is a little bit higher than I would normally like, and my haste is a little bit lower, but you're going to generally aim for like 40 to 42% haste. That's what I like to sit at. Verse, you want to get as high as you can. Try to get your mastery up to like 11 to 13%, I think is a good sweet spot for your mastery. And then you can go dump everything else into verse. You can put mastery on your rings and stuff. That's usually what I use to get the mastery, and then everything else I just do haste first. As far as like rotationally, again, nothing's really changing, especially even with the buffs tomorrow. You're still going to be cat weaving pretty much the exact same, and you're still going to be doing your damage pretty much the exact same. Your ramps are going to be pretty much the exact same with Flourish and Nature's Vigil. Except now with the cat form buffs, maybe in some prio target situations, you might be inclined to put up, a rip instead of press swipe or something, if that makes sense. But nothing fundamentally is really changing. You're going to put up Sunfire, you're going to keep up Moonfire, you're going to probably keep up Rake and Thrash, and then maybe you rip one more target than you normally would have. And that's that. I haven't been able to test this, obviously, because it's not on PTR and the buffs aren't out until tomorrow, but as far as I'm aware, nothing's really changing rotationally. And that's pretty much it as far as like my quick rundown of the Ardru changes coming. I wanted this video to be pretty quick. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If you want a more in-depth explanation as to all the stuff going on, I have my last video, which is what is going on with Ardru in 10.2. I go into a little bit more depth on like the tier set and interactions and stuff that happen, but I just wanted this video to be a quick little crash course on what I'm doing and what I think everyone else should do. Or if anyone has any questions on what I'm doing, they can watch this video and have their questions answered. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all of you guys. Again, sponsored by my twitch.tv/DXNWow. I love you all. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys time the biggest and fattest keys, because I believe in all of you guys. You guys can do it. I'm gonna head out, and yeah, later.